Yeah.
Some sensitivity in the Kaji to the Jobsona, Tika Garden, Semsa Temuchadura. Semsa Temuchandu is an Ecolea, Napto Gurindamata, Colea Garson, a Kanachema to Ashua. Not to not to Meva Zachin Mea, not to, not to go out to the Nova Machio, no, she might tell you to Zogora.
So
then I Shingo Doji Pejaina. Shingo Zawa the Tembujiona. We couldn't put in the Yerka the Loma Zutadina. Charlotte Tabondo, the Tendigo, Haba Shikimoto Jabde and Yerka the Loma Zuten Gato Jabde Mato. Dombo Kurula Nova Mataji, Tika than a Shingo Zawa the Tembuji Tara. These are the Senta Tembuzoliata, things that they are the Kishimoto Tondi.
So cultivating a single-pointed concentration is very important in terms of stabilizing your mind. Stabilizing your mind is essential in terms of dealing mental issues and any other issues. So if you stabilize your mind, you may not, and then it helps you, or help you to not think excessively, which lead you to, miserable or disaster. Mental issues in general, and so on.
Like we would say that we ruminate, we get stuck in thoughts.
Yes, absolutely. For example, a tree, if the tree has a stable root, although naturally disaster might come, for example, well, not naturally a disaster. For example, strong wind, blows the tree. If the tree has a strong root, the strong wind does not destroy the tree, is because it had a strong, stable root. Similarly, if you have a stable mind, no matter how what you're going through, you can stay calm and so on. Yes.
Camera the page got the koi. To camera patch got. Mazu Napto Meba Zachini Yomashra.
Let's go. So in general, it is impossible to limit all your thoughts. Yes.
Sonji that Chulungurishana Napto Tamji Mebazu Kabji Songo Dina. Mazu that Chulu Martin, natural Gushio Jaina, Napto the Mebazojo Martina, Napto Sosolia, Nova Matia, Sosojo.
That is good. And so in the Buddhism, philosophically, it talks about complete elimination of all the conceptual thoughts. But in general, in terms of humanistic view, it is impossible to completely eliminate our conceptual thoughts. So therefore, your goal is not should not be achieving complete eliminate all conceptual thoughts, but the goal should be applied in terms of how to deal with conceptual thoughts.
Sumba Narole Simco Gama Tesla, to Nisasum Dole. Sani Dole, Toyana Kichi, and it details the Ganga Robitin, so the same Ganga Shichibu Test, teaching and the Gumbani Katini, Robas Con Malami. The Jomoloma Rigitolia, Talo Nido Danga to Chitolia, and Cham Tendido, which in the Pichanda Lot Nido, which in the same days.
So I personally faced some of our mental issues, especially probably caused by pandemic. During the pandemic, he specifically experienced some mental uneasiness. Because of that, I separated from the monastery and left for Nepal. and went on the mountain Chomalama, some of the Chomalama remote mountains, and lived there 2.5 years.
딱겁디디 나롤이야 tin디 까마도 체크걸이야 나롤 탑시 약션라고 뜨지 간디 정서잖아 네 인지제아도 잠바제대아도 고토나 디갈 때 쉽게 침보도 태설라다
Sorry, it's not. He went on a near mountain, a mountain near Chomalama,
Right.
not a Chomalama
Right.
mountain, obviously. So what he experienced in terms of dealing his mental uneasiness is to practice compassion and love kindness.
Yeah.
So he found practicing compassion and love kindness very beneficial in terms of dealing with mental issues.
제도 손지기 줄을 놓려야다 근데 생급 주도 걸려 마음부시 성거든 나롤이 탑시 약션도 인지도 잠바제대아데 다디 옆에다가 생급을야 강아 실체모 제나 칼라콘좀 체데 걸려야디 서울 통통만도 이나 샘리아 데 강아 메카딜이야 인지도 잠바도 고토아 이나 티기 실체라고 되거니 그 내단도 마소는 식촌이 조린도 알이야 다디 나롤이 묘 딜레소스
So what I experienced is when you were seriously mentally unwell, and at that point, practice compassion and love kindness maybe not that helpful in terms of dealing with severe mental illness. But if you become less severe mental issues, then I find practice compassion and love, kindness very much helpful.
나롤이야 생각을야 트니 드니 생각 맞춰봐 시침을 가을이야 카티마티 도통문은 인지도 잠바제대 딩엔자스 고통문도 아니가 감바점는 드니 니 조mol로마 그데 리제스로 사자쯤 보여 신화도 설바 참는 드니 냐마 년제지는 참는 점바 드니 도데 이나 그 생각야 까마도 식충충도 차위 가을이야 아니 인지도 잠바제대 식치 대 가데 곰토나 디기 니바드나 나롤 녀텔레스 제도 미 수술이야 생거리야 까감체 또 먼저 몸을 지어디나 나롤 펜치쇼도 오지 텐도 오지 통스
when I'm facing severe mental illness, I just leave the place where I stayed at that time, and I just walk through the forest and the mountains. I just take some walk over there. And because those mountains that are where I lived, they're beautiful, naturally beautiful, greener and so on. And I took a walk, into forest and along the mountains to and once I calm down, less facing severe mental illness. And then I'm starting practicing compassion and love kindness.
Okay.
노춘 말이야 인지도 잠바제대도 배생 통보 시비시야거든 나로 그티노네 냐올레지야도 자샤 뉴스 장안에 30거리다 모두 냐올레지 통마서 디나 어디그 수술이야 빼면서 생걸이야 나자들이야 쇼지 패소시
Well, in general, practice compassion and love kindness is a higher practice in that explained in the Buddhism. It's not something that I completely practice them. It's not something I will be able to completely practice them. But probably I was be able to practice maybe 20% of compassion and love kindness. Still, I find this very effective in terms of dealing with my mental issues.
그래서 마티 것들이야 나로 그 생각을야 디 나자디 주토리야 사울은 람 만라타 탑신 람 만라타 이스 이나 나로 페도 치르텔레서 그가리리야 나자데 맨날 셈바 맞춰야 돼 매바 차서나 이 셈바 맞춰야 돼야 렙지 Until Kate Saluton. Now, the chicks never so told the chicken eat and never so told the dinner. Pedigree, Yirimbuta, Toshi Yakshu, the Naran, Marola Musu Chonjo, the Niji, the Chambas, the Yakshu, those nonsense.
So in general, again, there's many ways to do such thing, to deal with, mental illness in Buddhism in general. But I personally found practicing compassion and love kindness very much helpful.
So come Garilia, Dangar Chibu Antony in a Shinano Sune Dene, I mean, Shindos all Nini. Same much about the men, same much about the among the church in. Same much about the among the church in. And Italy, a Kate, Solu, Focus, Solutos of your carresha, number carresha, good Geshe carrendus. Never about Taji Tony, Taniconia, call the same much about Chebu Mundos, and Tani Soluton. Chini remember to the Yirimbolia, and to Chisho, the Niji, the Chamba.
So I tried many methods, many approaches. Just go on the forest and lay down and ground, and intentionally, letting those mental uneasiness arise in your own, in my own mind, and I check, analyzing them, whether how they're coming in and how you deal, how myself deal with them. Although you let arise such mental illness within your mind stream, if you check what caused those mental illness and where they come from, how do you deal, how do you identify them, and so on. So I've tried some of those methods, but I found the most effective way to deal with such mental illness is the practice of compassion and love kindness. That do matter. So that's it. Yes. Any would you like to ask him, or do you want him to ask you first?
Can I just say, I'd like to thank you for sharing your experiences and how you went near Chomolungma. I mean, we call it Mount Everest, but I know the Tibetan name, so I can imagine it must be a beautiful place to be. But your insights about how you worked with your problems, I think, are really interesting, and I'm so grateful to you for sharing that, because I think what we tend to do is not be willing to go into our feelings. Here people would tend to push their feelings away, when exactly what we need to do is to look at them, to go into them.
Any Tujichis that you're on the that's what the single the commentary, the young Choegyal, the Lane Tujichi Lavios, any Charampi Casa, Chomon Manian of the Chene, Pacozo Laila Mount Everest, Lavias, Region of Mount Jamonoma. Any Tinyam Choegyal, the Tujichis, any time Namjol some of the country children now. So the torch young we cover, toward the non yet Zubions, toward the Casa touching the door out of the years, for the Mayon Taji down the years. But Chog Yam Joina, toward the Yam Zuni, toward the country the Tagi, Dendos. Two G's.
I mean, Maru Yamino, thought the young old church in the Kangar, the young old church in the Kangar, Atadena. Same Tani, same Tani, did the Nani Pasho, the same Kangar, the Kuru Romsik, Nimedua, Tio Niba Shimodus.
So I have another experience to look at your own mind. So you let your mind look at your own mind. And so it will reduce the seriousness of your mental issues.
남도 레아들 카트 짜서 약속도 오지마 가르 통소지나 나로 냠냠지나 너무 동아지라.
So another that I had an experience to ignore your conceptual thought, that just ignoring them.
아 너무 동세 되어도 돈다 친친 잠마다던 체니 아나도 몸을 내야 있잖니. onda 춘주도 너무 동토를 되나 치모든 쪽에서 대해서 가고 요리 되나요. 수 semta. Sem그 셀 때문에 나오지 봤다 되어이나 남도 그 소소 생거 남도 봤다니. 강아들 봤더니 살로톤에 대대잖아. 콜리아 니바도지 까게메니 치근을 바완 타운지 콜 메바샤도도. 마도 코로 남도리아 몰레도지 제자이나 남도 그 니바도 식치 들어가도. 그래서 남도리 남도리아 몰레도지 다 콜리아 지 드니도 까게 마지네 남도리아 나 스템타노지 셈가 셈레아 남도리 스템타노지 제자이나 파브조 그 셈가 강가 그 남도데 콜 니메 차도도스.
So you let your mind to look at your mind, and then where, for example, would be, like you watching some sport, or then you just let the mind play itself, and then you watch it as someone you watch football game or sport. So it helps you reduce the seriousness of mental issues. 아니, 다 아자기지 나요사.
Just say, I understand what you're saying about keeping a part of the mind, some awareness, separate, so that part of the mind can be aware of what's going on.
아니 다 similar you are 맞아나 니체라 차가니 전에 아니 지디가 아니 시진 땡겨라다 샘 따위 가로 생 제가 시진 때네 샘 따위 가로 네 아무도스.
So that way we can actually be present rather than being just sucked into the things that are happening to us and not realizing that we have any choices.
아니 다티르데 아니 단디 다대위 둘라 뭐바 샘때도 요레스 아니 건 총차교줘라 이노라 아니 소소 툼네 마데죠 고툼네 마데 와체 아니 텔레 요아동 토마토 와체 들리제네 마데네 다디 다다랑스 샘도 때도 요레스 당가다지지 클라스다 인간들 아니
다 단도들은 아주 피자는 쟤는 샘트레 바니자제 데아테라.
So in Buddhist literature, the thing that you just described is called mindfulness.
Yeah. And we
same thing, but the way he described, I described letting mind, looking at the mind is called the mindfulness of mind. So there's another mindfulness which is called the mindfulness of feeling.
Yes. Yeah. So these are the applications of mindfulness.
Sorry.
Are we referring to the different applications of mindfulness?
아니 다들 저 tempanyeja서 renew 시고요라스 라우요라스 다티 가서 tempanye자 가서 라렐 따르도만도 renew 라우요라스
그래 tempanye자를 때도 제조 띵노는 디소 마도 찌조던 잠을리기 다디소 미강가를 샘고 강아요 되니 술이야 샘 tempanye자야도 초 tempanye자야도 약쇼리스. 맞아. 저는 노출을 tempanye자는 타보시오라.
So I personally Well, I personally believe that those people who face a mental illness in our society, I think the best way to deal mental illness is to apply mindfulness of mind and a mindfulness of feeling.
딜리가 검지체 보라 딜 검지체와라 마른도 지체나 지발루 정안이 멘체들의 약속하고 싶던데 나니 정아버리 semko 아니 나도도 담아다 그들이 쉽게 신부 매아이디자니 코돌레아디 템바니에자데 대아르므로 검제데 띵에제 대아르 검치와이나 무시 코돌레아 니바 식치 못해야가 니 리와로 쳐서 들레서나니 투나 코르 마음 머실리아니 기디아니 또 간체서나 콜셈 강가 마체 켜버지고 살에 상태인도스.
So I think the best way to apply such method, technique, mindfulness technique in terms of our age, I believe it would be best if we apply such mindfulness techniques from between age and 5 and 15. So if you let your children who be between 5 and 15, they will as they grow up in the society, they will face some issues, mental issues or other issues. But if we let them practice mindfulness between these ages, they will apply such mindfulness techniques in terms of dealing with their mental issues. So it will be better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And we are beginning to teach some mindfulness to young people and to teach it in schools now here in this country. But it's very patchy. It happens in some places and not in others. But I think we are at least moving in the right direction. And I certainly wish that I'd had that kind of training when I was a young person. No, I didn't come to mindfulness till much later in life.
다 그런 가다 네 유서 야컵 디 나오래요. 아니 템바니저 곰데 라레 따르고스 라브라칼라니 정도 제주요스. 이나 다디 지 차트부도 지 방주부지래서나 말했어. 지 칸토리즘데 라브라카실이요 카실레 메부도 인디 용도요스. 이나요 다 지 가서 다 갑조도 마서나 갑조데 네야 초 가족들 준비 좀 요즘에 뉴스 다 코로나 찾아나 아니 코로나 살롱저니까 진료가나 아니 템바니저 공들을 걸로 공용했어 다 템바니저 공들도 저 하고야 저 지금 양매지야 로주야다 코로나 때지 야래 찬이 말고 정말소스
랍자노노 게치모렌데 저 파마도 쓰는 게 그토네 야고 살에 삼대 로아 때는 강아론도 지나다 조모로 맞지니까 때니 쪼고 그 몸부지 틀에 되나요? 번져서 차지매 있는 부정한 아직스타 2 days 모델 따도 제대로 모델 좀 뭐기 보다 맞히네. 당하로 디지털 사소나니 마음들이 고전냠다 되네. 아니 디 고졸이야 디 러브 삼데스. 내가 고졸을 따라게 빼지라고.
그래서 아니 I'm sorry. Well, it's important train such young children.
파마가 게크도 러브다 파마니가
in mindful techniques. So, of course, schools have a responsibility, and also specifically the parents. I think very important. As someone who supports voluntarily some of the children, Nepali, children. I personally find mindfulness technique is essential to let them train themselves, because I help those children that are helping younger children.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's really important. Yeah.
nga pus machine bodal jane ne ko zu nyam de nga zu temata yi tidi jane me geba ge temata do da pu ge temata do chuni drag mu de tika de nga torno cho ko zo ge temata yi ka de ya temal pa liseni ga tene chini ke to na ma ko atini cha de do ti jane ko zo ge lu chona men se de ya tema nye ja ya do gom ze de lam na 차부가 꽤 말이지. 차부 말이 정말 여자들 공부에 대한 차부 말이 있잖아요. 그 검지 고 차지래. 거기 때 잡던 뒤는 부수래. 하마도 그게 니가 조바리노 까마 정아 로질이야 저도 소나 마음 무실이야. 그 까마 친구질이야. 돈을 니 같은 살았어. 말로 뒤쳐 정서.
So what I experienced is, you know, when I was with them, the children that I helped, you know, we sometimes watch TV. So whenever we watch the TV, some of the children almost like they completely focus on that TV show or whatever film or movie. So they almost like physically, mentally dissolve into that movie. So completely concentrated on that show. And so I found that will be nice if we trained those young children at such young age in the mindfulness techniques. Mindfulness technique is important, but the most essential part of training mindfulness techniques is to familiarize with it. You know, putting yourself into that, constant effort into to be familiarized with that. So my suggestion would be to train mindfulness or to practice mindfulness at least 15 minutes on a regular basis. So it will be helpful to them, beneficial to them in terms of dealing, you know, any issues in their life as they grow up.
Yeah. So we've got it as a tool to work with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that the younger children so any yuji challenge pejutong
nga 그 tanda tato chesa pusu ina chunju kamniya kanga shik chimbo chiniya tani solo chonjore nisi. Ta lo chisho ta lo chonga rawu shire, ti ol ma jemba tu sure ti. Lo denje kapsiniya ta lo zhenga katina ama chonga ni ko lo denje katina tsayam rawu te. Tani chini chunju kamniya kanga shik chimbo chini jo iti tani nga tanda semche rawu daliya kozo chimbo chana kozo lo semko kanga chini ki chare samni nga semche rawu chindu. Ti izan nga dalu jikte tsane ni nga mandu ni kuzo liya tiko liya tema nye ko liya tez logo samni nga tanda charge lo tini yolot.
So since those children are younger than 15, so they're under 15s, some of them faced, you know, lost their parents at very young age, probably around 4 and 5. And then, you know, for some of them, you know, around 7 or 8 age, being raped, some, you know, by, you know, other people. So I'm concerned that they've been going through such, you know, mental already, you know, big issues in their life. So my concern is that maybe we'll, you know, will have to face mental illness as they grow up because they're going through such, you know, trauma at a very young age. So I think once I've done my examination, I will be in Nepal. I plan to go back to Nepal and train those children. Probably I will, you know, teach them mindfulness techniques. Oh, Tani, Dandirda. Tangan come up Chimata Hamaso. Such you 200, 200. Then come up chicken on the Tamshamare. So we're gonna stop in 10 minutes. Do you have any questions? So he said he's not any more questions. Okay. If you have any questions.
펜도잖아 지마스가 많이
Really,
이제시는 중들.
sorry.
there's 지금 삼자 질레전에 패동다고 좋아하고 저런 소알레서나 아니 지마스는 아니 디세존에 드니다고 지나. that 니 저럴 단다 좋아하고 요나가 나나.
So if you think this is helpful and we can do more discussion in the futures. So now, if you have any questions, please ask.
Okay. Thank you, Nyima. I would love to do more in future. No, it's been lovely to have this discussion with you.
Tuji chase and Nyima last time. Nyima lana di relay magiko.
Yeah.
And tuji chase and mombalan karza don't mombu on grivayas.
Yeah. And I also wanted to say I'm so sorry to hear what has happened to some of the young people in Nepal.
Ani tab koron lopom yos tab chopu tato chesa buru zola tendik kangar tapchin che the koron lopom yos.
And I think it's marvelous that you will go and support them.
Ani that choron hajang yapores ta chopi jidestane pegin drone konsola ani job roram che hajang yapores.
제저 고졸로 로바지 라우치니 리칸다고 있잖아. 소소리 야론 또 봐도. 소소 그 리카 펜도요 봐도. 소소 그 셈가올이야 펜부도스.
So I found that helping with such children who go through, such trauma, not just, I feel happy, but also feel worth it to myself, really. So it helped, the way I do helping with these children also helps me to deal with my own mental issues.
Yeah, and I can, really identify with that. It's not the same thing, but I think some of the work I now do here has helped me deal with some of my problems too. I learn a lot from the people that I work with.
Choegyal dongi legache do dus ta koron legache sa ta pi lobso tesa rilio tedichi kangar yon karza kango yon regresas ani de maze no ton che do dentri che wa na sozo le pendo yon budus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it is what's the word? Your vocation, that you are sent to do this work.
Sorry.
I don't know if you use the word in the same way. Like, is it Nima's vocation to go and do this work? That he is being sent? His role in life is to go to Nepal and support these young people. That's his purpose, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ani tacho ani karsa pagi Nepal pagi londone pu sola roram che jorada. Ti chorong da muyir derbasta.
Yeah, tamam musi taroti che.
So that's my goal, and I will do this for the rest of my life to support those children. Oh yeah, although I'm faced financially difficult, but I'm looking for support from my friends.
Okay.
And I'm confident that I will help as much as I can, as many kids. So I will do that for the rest of my life.
잡정을 강아 창마라고 하고 있잖아요. 근데 고절을 샷잖아요. 아니 수juk 샘고 빼가 헬렌다고 차도 그랬어요. 고절 강아도 세토나 수juk 고절 강아 때 세토나 아니 상상지마도 젬바 소소가 강아지 춘추라고 자주도.
So as I met some of the children near the Chomoloma mountain, when I saw their hardship, you know, once I saw their hardship, they're going through such hardship, my own problem became less important.
근데 딱이 저러고 딱이 돈벌 소소 가서 소소가 런토마 돈이 소아 렌저 콜이야 나를 삼자 몸버시야지 당연히 트리티센 못더니 니 지마 쿠콘도 총선아 아니 가니 티콜이야 렌저 키레시나라
And so you talk about self-worth less, self-worth, low self-worth, low stream, and well, I have a lot thing to say about self-worth and so, but I hope we will have more time in the future to discuss more about that.
Yeah. I would be happy to talk more about that too.
Corona people that share any gabi on sares. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely to meet you.
To a big of John, only to the chista.
That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.